Good morning, Homestead. I'm Greg Giglio. This is our weekly video message for Friday, March 17th, which means happy St. Patrick's Day. Hope everybody's got their green on. Obviously, an easy one for the Mustangs as we got a lot of green, but hope you're wearing some green today. Got a short one today. Didn't get a whole lot of questions or concerns and shout outs, but we got a few. So wanted to thank all of our juniors for taking part in cast testing. We know that's never easy. Well, and especially when you know some of the other folks are sleeping in. And some of those, we had a weird week with the weather and with the electricity being out. So we appreciate everyone's efforts to get here. And it's not easy to do that, but thank you for doing so. Also, just wanted to thank our staff members who made it possible. So all of our staff who were involved in administering and running and all that good kind of stuff to get it going. Special shout outs go to Andy Wynn and Sean O'Hare, who are our tech team. They had to go through and set up all the Chromebooks. So appreciate that. Lisa Fisher, who is our AP secretary, she really did a lot of the nuts and bolts in terms of the organizing and supporting. And then Paula Mockler, who was one of our assistant principals, who was the administrator in charge. Her first time doing it, did a great job. So thank you for a smooth CASP. There are going to be some kids that we need to follow up on who maybe missed some days, and because we have to get to a 95% participation rate. Otherwise, we get dinged by the state and it lowers our scores. So we don't want that to happen. So there may be some folks they're going to be pulling over the next week or two here to try and finish up the tests. So thank you for all the people who participated in that. We have one question and concern. It's actually kind of a half shout out and a half question. So it says there was a recent trip for one of our clubs where the logistics team did a fantastic job. So did the parents who were nice enough to drive in the dark during a rainstorm. It was a pretty hectic day, and so they did a great job and kept everybody safe. I don't think this club has a direct feedback form, so I wanted to mention hotel rooms were designed for 2 people. It's a lot to ask for 4 students to share one. I hope that in the future families will be given the opportunity to pay a little more for lodging so the kids aren't crowded and have some room to relax and spread out. This was again in reference to a robotics competition that was held in Fresno. It was on one of those days where there was a bunch of rain. Again, thank you to everyone who drove and chaperoned and did all that stuff. We really appreciate you giving your time and keeping everyone safe. And whenever you want to, you can always, for any club or anything, you can always email the advisor for feedback. If you want to know who an advisor is for a particular club, you just go onto the student portal and go under ASB, look up their clubs, and there's a whole spreadsheet that'll tell you who does what and what days they meet. So I probably should have put a link on there so you could have seen that, but that's what that one is. As for the hotel rooms, it's pretty standard fare that we put as many kids into a room as possible, and that does drive the cost down. It also is kind of part of the fun, and so kids do like to be together. Obviously, sometimes it can be a little bit crowded at times, but again, it cuts down on the cost. Sometimes it's even hard to get that many rooms booked into a hotel, depending on how many people there are. And so sometimes you don't want to have people in different hotels, that kind of thing. So again, that's something that they would look to. And a lot of times clubs don't offer, or teams or whatever, don't offer extra, say, hey, you can pay extra and get a room to yourself, because that kind of feels a little bit against what the purpose of the trip is, which is to kind of have some fun and to bond as a team and go and be part of the competition. So, but I suppose you could always talk to the people running it and see what's up. But that may also put some people in an awkward position, like I can afford more and you can't. So we don't want to have any of those kind of issues either. But obviously this robotics team actually said, hey, they'd still love to have more parent volunteers if you want to be part of those amazing folks that drove in a rainstorm or did help out. So again, if you're looking for something to do and help out at school, robotics team could use some parent volunteers. And as a volunteer, you do need to go through a process to get cleared through HR. So we can talk to you about that if you have questions. Other announcements, as I said, very short this week, but traffic reminders. We were going to start this week to do the closing down the staff lot after around lunchtime because we're having way too many people pick up and drop off kids at that time. So again, that's going to be starting actually next week, because this week with the testing and the rain and crazy wind, it was just not the right time to do it. But we will be starting that next week. So if you have been using the staff lot to pick up your kid, please find another alternate location. That could be the horseshoe, that could be the student lot, it could be somewhere off campus, it could in whatever, but just not the staff lot. Please, 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 we're having issues no matter what places it seems to be. There, people are not giving space to emergency vehicles. And, unfortunately, when you have a school our size, 2,300 kids and 5,000 parents and, 100 and some odd staff members, there things happen. And so we often have to have emergency vehicles here. Sometimes police officers, sometimes it's a tow truck, sometimes it is a fire engine and an ambulance. Please stay out of their way. Please don't try to get around them to get closer to your student. Come up with an alternate plan. Say, hey, if there's the horseshoe's blocked off because of a fire truck, meet me over here. So please make sure that you're helping out our emergency folks. Because again, if that was your kid or your loved one who needed some emergency assistance, we would hope that people would be kind to them too. So please be kind to those. And we're all one big happy Homestead family here. So let's treat each other that way. And again, just a reminder about traffic. It is always worst just before and just after school. So if you come a little earlier or come a little later, not later to school in the morning, but later in the afternoon to pick up your student, then, again, you'll probably come into less traffic and you won't have some of these rushed pack into places. So a little bit of waiting time never hurt anybody. They could always pull out some homework and do that, or they could talk with friends, give them a little extra social time. But just remember that, again, you don't always have to rush to be here right at the last minute and rush to pick them up right when the bell rings. Some important dates for us coming up next week is the Battle of the Classes. That's a big fun one. It's big. It's kind of our big spring spirit event. So there's lots of dress up days and competitions between the teams, friendly competition, or not teams, the grade levels. We have a big rally on the 24th. That's the Friday, so that's always a fun day too. We have an advisory coming up that week. It's the topic of Title IX. So that one's done by our district mental health team. So that's a good one. We have our ASB elections coming up the week of 3/27. We got junior prom happening in April. We have multicultural week happening April 10th, the week of April 10th, and we have spring break coming up here soon. So again, as I promised, it was a short one today. Please remember to send in your questions, comments, shout outs, all that kind of stuff to make this longer if you need to have more information. But hope you have a great St. Patrick's Day. Hope the weather stays warm and sunny as it has been these last couple of days. We don't have as much rain, and that you can enjoy your weekend for once. So take care and have a good one.